Middle of the national gun debate comes a home invasion story out of Georgia, where a young mother was able to save her family from an intruder because she had a revolver inside of her house. Trace Gallagher live in our West Coast newsroom with that story. Trace?
Megan, happened about 30 miles outside of Atlanta. A mother was home with her 9-year-old twins. A man began knocking on the door. She didn't answer because she didn't want to deal with any salesman. And then the suspect began ringing the doorbell again and again and again. That's when she called her husband. Her husband then called 911. She grabbed a .38 revolver and her twins, and they ran to a nearby closet. They stayed in that closet. The suspect then broke into the house and began ransacking the entire house. He then walked upstairs and opened the closet door. Listen.
All of a sudden, the crawl space door opens where she and her two children are, and she's face to face with this perpetrator.
And then
who's in turn staring at her and her two kids and a .38 revolver.
What'd she do next?
She fires all 6 shots.
All 6 shots hitting the suspect in the face and the neck. The suspect lay face down on the ground crying. The woman tells him if he moves, she will keep shooting. But he gets up, stumbles out of the house, into his car, drives away, but crashes in nearby woods. The cops show up seconds later. The woman takes her twins to a neighbor's house next door for safety. The cops arrest the suspect and say the woman with the .38 revolver did exactly the right thing. Megan.
It's unbelievable, that story. I mean, they called 911. She tried to, lock the door. She tried to hide. She tried to protect the children, avoid confrontation, and confrontation was set on finding her. All right, Trace, thank you. For more now, we're going to bring in Lars Larson, who's a syndicated radio host, and he's been on the program a number of times. Hi, Lars, talking about gun rights and has said publicly that he's a proud gun owner and is concerned about additional crackdowns on the gun laws. Now, .38 revolvers, I don't think, would be within the scope of any new laws, right, Lars? Because they're looking at more assault-type weapons, not sort of personal home protection?
Except for this. Remember this, Donnie Herman's wife, whose name is still being withheld by the police, and I think that's prudent, she's a very brave woman, and she did exactly the right thing. The problem is she was confronting one intruder. If she'd been confronting 3, she ran out of bullets on the one intruder, and he was still able to get up, go out to the driveway, and drive his car away. If she'd been confronting 3 people, she would have been out of bullets way too early, and that's one reason why most people, including most police officers and most people who care about protecting their homes, want a gun that is capable of holding more than that and capable of reloading very quickly. This is what the president's plan will go after. And if you take the Feinstein proposal, which you can see on the senator's website, she would actually say that if you have a gun that holds more than 10 bullets, you are not allowed to buy one after her plan passes. You're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to transfer it to a family member or a friend. You're not allowed to leave it to your children after you're gone. This is the kind of implication it has for American families to take away the right to own the kind of gun that they need to protect their home. This woman was very fortunate and very courageous, but this president wants to take away people's rights to own the appropriate tool to repel an invader or invader into their houses.
That's a fascinating point. I hadn't really considered that. I mean, it was stunning to me that the guy's expected to be okay, even though 5 of the 6 bullets hit him, and a .38, that's not like the tiny lady's revolver, right? I mean, that's a substantial gun. So it is pretty amazing that he lived through that. You raise an interesting point about had there been a second intruder. Because, if you're not sort of in, like, the gun rights world, you think, all right, 6 bullets, that ought to do it.
Well, Megan, here's the problem. Too many people who are not familiar with firearms, unlike us, the folks like me that go to the range all the time, they watch a movie and they say 1 bullet will make the intruder fly backward 50 feet and be completely incapacitated or dead. That's not the way it happens. When I've taken Citizens Academy courses from the local police departments, they'll point out that officers will tell you you can put a lot of bullets in a bad guy and he will keep coming at you. That's why they teach officers shoot till the threat is gone. This woman did exactly what she should do. She fired at center of mass. She apparently punched his lungs, his stomach, his liver. That's what he's in the hospital being treated for now. And he still had the capacity to get up, go back outside, and drive a car down the street.
What do you make of it, Lars? Is there any limit on, magazines, on ammunition that you could get behind?
The limits on magazines are silly. In fact, there's some great videos that with gun experts who show that if somebody has 5, 10-round magazines, the time to change from magazine to magazine is very short, which means putting a limit on it, 10 or 15 or whatever number you want to pick, really isn't meaningful. Somebody can change those magazines very quickly. I have a feeling that what the president would like to do and what Senator Feinstein would like to do is have a bill that initially puts limits on specific guns and says you can't own them, you can't buy them, you can't sell them, you can't inherit them. And then down the line, they will add more guns to that list, they will add more limitations, and Americans will eventually be stripped of their right to own firearms at all in any practical way. They'll also go after ammunition, so be aware of that. This woman is a perfect example of why if you want to protect your home, you might need more than 6 bullets. She might have that day.